I went to, I got introduced to this idea, I don't know, a long time ago. And then I started to go see people speak, and either I wasn't hearing it or it wasn't being mentioned. There was mostly a description of what I was, like you are consciousness, you are brilliant emptiness, and all like that, which is nice, but you're hearing it as what you're not. So I'm established as what I'm not, hearing about what I am. I realize that doesn't go anywhere. It makes this feel better, maybe, or then it will ultimately make it feel worse because it's never arriving there. So of course in self-centeredness you find fault in that which is not arriving, at where you already are. Yes? Yeah. So the emphasis, the spotlight's always on what you're not. Mm-hmm. Even in the the noble pursuit of what you are, it's all about what you're not. So I remember I was in LA giving some stuff, and a person said, "Well, you went to satsang, and that's why you're talking about this." I said, "No, no." They said, "And you're sharing the same things." I said, "No, I didn't hear this at satsang. That's why I'm talking about it. I didn't hear the overwhelming elephant in the room is there's an act, that which you are is in the act of being identified as what it's not. And it's very, very fast, in time. It happens so quickly, there's no process you could use to try to outdraw that process, because it's so fast that anything you do, you'll still be cast as the doer of it, So if you're trying to undo what you think you've done, it's still just reinforcing of the one who did it. You can't get out of it once you're in it. That's the dilemma. And most of us in time are starting in it. We're starting in it, and then from there, which is it's already locked in, you want to look to how to get out. But the out is realizing you're not in. It's not, the out isn't, I finally found the 5,000-year-old formula how to escape that which I'm in. That's not it. It's a realization you're not in. And therefore, your interest to get out is severely diminished. And then in the results of that, it verifies itself. You lose interest in the escape, and because there is no escape. You can't escape from an imaginary place. Just can't do it. I don't care how you spin it, you can't do it. See? And because we are reality, when we're escaping from an imaginary place, that imaginary place seems as real can be, and seems as it appears to be true to you. So that's why when you're talking with people, as people, the subjectiveness is overwhelming, because you can't verify the hell they're in, because it's an imaginary hell. But because they're believing it, it seems as real can be, even though if you're sitting right next to them, it doesn't like spill over to you. But you can't underestimate the power that we are, that we give meaning to everything. So I don't know what kind of hell someone's in. You can't look at the outside circumstances, because the mental state overrides outside circumstances. You can be in a lovely situation and still think it's not enough. It's nothing, there's no way. This is when I used to do talks with recovery, and I still do, but you try to paint simple pictures. So let's say in the deck of life, the card deck of life, we're basically aware of a few decks, all right? So there's the consequential deck, there's the emotional deck, there's the mental deck, But the spiritual, and then so if I get everything out there right, it will translate into me being okay. There's the physical deck. If I work and get a perfect yogic body, I should have a yogic mind, My mind should be as flexible and in equanimity as my body is in the dead man's pose. But most people are laying in a dead man's pose, their head, it would be looking like a popcorn maker with like July 4th. So the mental state seems to me in this experience overrides everything else. It overrides the circumstances, it overrides your physical condition, it overrides your emotional condition, you know? So what card in the deck can trump that? Well, the way the deck is seen, there's a few cards missing, yeah? And that is your inherent nature. So there's a card that goes, hey, you should look for your inherent nature, but that just reinforces the mental state. So the only thing that can trump the mental state is your innate nature, yes? So you can outshine circumstances and situations, you can outshine emotional states, you can outshine physical states, you can outshine a lot of states, yes? Because you're the light, so to speak. But if you're playing with a deck that the most important cards have been underaddressed or marked as like nothing or like a 1, yeah, then you're basically trying to, all right, I'm going to do myself into a better condition by either making the conditions better, making the physical condition, emotional condition, whatever better. Yeah, and these are constantly what we're attempting to do, but we live in that anxiety that it can be trumped by one thought. One thought can ruin your whole yoga retreat. It can. You could have it like a hermetically sealed Costa Rican freaking vacation if one little thought gets through, because they can't build a fence to keep the thoughts up. They can't. I don't care. You don't have a phone. Nobody can get in touch with you, but your head is slipped right through and it's just going off. Yeah. So obviously, it seems like we're outmatched. Yes. Because what we're taking ourselves is a mental state. It's a mental idea. It's a mental interpretation. Yeah. How does it arrive there? It claims what's happening. The mental process claims that the thinking implies there's a thinker. That feeling implies there is a feeler. The actions definitely imply that there's an actor and you're the actor. Because this did it and therefore you did it. Yeah? So it's constantly reinforcing the idea of its presentation by the claiming of what's actually happening. To the point where people will try to change what's happening. I'm going to just fucking cultivate my thoughts and only have good thoughts. Yeah, try it. Yeah. Jesus Christ, it's like the fool's gold of spirituality. Or I'm going to just live in equanimity. Yeah, let's see. All right. I used to do it in early recovery. I'd say, I'm not going to have a resentment. I'd have a resentment at by 8:30 in the morning. Yeah, so we're assuming, or we live on this impliedness that we have power that we don't have any. Yes, yeah. All right, so this whole dilemma, to me, because most spirituality is really self-help. It is, in a way. And you are going to improve what you're not. Yeah, your brain may get a little clearer if you meditate. Yeah, but in fact, it's not changing any of the dynamic. There's still the bondage with this idea of being a self. And see, in recovery, we say, don't relieve me of that, beer belly, or, I can go on the search of plastic surgery and relieve me of my ugliness. It says, relieve me of the bondage of self. Yeah, the bondage of self. So bondage, it's not bondage to self, because that would imply self's a thing you could be bonded to. Yeah, sort of like I take this wood and here's a piece of wood and I bind this wood to this wood, but it's an activity. The bondage is of an activity. The mental state is selfing, and in that activity, it implies or assumes something that isn't so already to be so, which is an incredible move. It's never gonna be so, it's never gonna become to be so, but it implies it already is so. It's really unbelievable. It's quick. And most people have no idea. They think time is a clock, 11:30. Time is like a huge current we're in. It's moving us, pushing us. Watch everyone driving. It's all rooted in time. Yeah. Time. You ask people what time is, they don't have a clue. Why are we're like 2 levels below a coconut? When is it we can just see what's happening. Because we're awake, we are. But if we're awake to all the thoughts that assume, imply that we're something else, we will be awake to those thoughts, and those thoughts will produce a seemingly asleepness to it. Yes? But this isn't about waking up. We're already inherently awake. We awake from the idea of being a self. Yeah? You awake from something. And when you awake from something, you realize you've always been awake from that something. Yeah? When you finally have your big moment, if you want to call it that, that moment's going to tell you it's always been this way. So was it a big moment? Let's say something happens, and then it tells you it's always been happening. So did actually something happen? No. Because it's always happening. So you can immediately leave the mistake that you had something to do with it, because if something happened, it means it hasn't happened, which is a lie. Yeah? If something happened, it implies it hasn't happened. So the idea of, it hits you, it dawns on you, but what it comes with, in my sense with it, it told me it's always been this way. It's, in other words, nothing ever really happened that I thought had happened. All the idea of all the basic source code, fundamental programming wasn't dismissed as if like, it was just negated. It was just seen not to be so. Now, is it going to seem to be so? Yes. But now it's sort of like you've seen the mirage, you do not walk to it to find water. You know it looks like there's water, but there isn't any water. Yes? The mirage keeps appearing. It's an optical illusion, but you're not under the idea that you're going to find something there, because you've gone there already. You know the well is empty. So this message, in my view, the best you can do with it is explain what we're not. Yeah. So with the hopes that what you are hears a damn good explanation of what it's not. So then when it hears it's what it's not, it may go, hey, I'm not that. Yeah. And then suddenly the tables have turned. Yes, boom. The emphasis, even if it was just for a second, can change a whole life. If the emphasis was finally on the seeing, yeah, instead of the seer, yeah, the emphasis went on there. That's the correction. And when the correction's made, it tells you there was no need for a correction. All of this idea of you preceding everything as with this body is seemingly so. It's appearing to be true. It's dreaming. Yes? It's dreaming. And we're not in the dream. We're not the dreamt of the dream. We're the dreaming of the dream. We're the activity. We are the exact activity that we want to get out of. So have you ever tried really just not doing it, not going anywhere, see what happens? So the message isn't to you and the message isn't to me. Even though the head will say it's the one that's hearing it, there's something before that. Yeah? What you believe you came in here, there's something that we are that's never left here. Yeah. There's something that we are that isn't waiting to get it. It is it. There's something that we are that overrides and precedes everything else that we may think we are, that we may think others are, all of that. Yes? So the point is to throw the ball over your head. Because I know you only have like a 7-foot wingspan. I know if you keep talking, not taking every 5 minutes a break so that the selfing can regroup. Like, let's take a minute. No, it just neutered the message like that. You want to overwhelm, yes. You want to throw enough balls where you don't have enough mental mitts to catch it. Because you go, oh, I got it, but then something else comes. where the system gets overwhelmed, and maybe, just maybe, you see from a different point, or a pointless point, yeah? Maybe you see from raw mind, R-A-W mind, instead of the reflection from conditional mind, yeah? Yeah. So the message is to what we are. And what's the message about? What we're not. Now, right now, we're taking what we're not to be what we are. Yes? Right now, the mind is dreaming that what we're not is what we are. So, if you're waiting for that to really love the message that it's not so, it's baloney. Don't waste any time. Just realize that the mind has gotten it already. Yes? Mind has received the message, and what happens is it will regurgitate, and you'll get a certain download, and then you'll start noticing a lot of things. First, you'll start seeing the mental playing field of noun and verbs is just verbing. Yeah, there's no noun that's doing anything or is being done to by anything. There's verbing. Yeah, there's an appearance, and this whole place is seemingly so. It's appearing to be true or false to us. Yes. So the whole reality of the place is determined on the observer of the place. The observer's reality is not determined by its reality. Its reality is determined by us. Yeah? The observation is distorting what's observed. That's what happens. So you and I are giving everything all the meaning it has. We play a huge role here. Okay, so the message is to what you are about what you're not. So we can describe what we're not. Like every non-duality meaning is just a description of duality, really. Yeah? There can't be a non-duality meeting. No one would attend, and there would be nowhere to go. The non-duality meaning is a description of duality. It's a description of dualism. It's a description of subject-object. It's a description of all the coins of the mental realm that we take to be valuable. It's just seeing it. And in one great Zen master's exclamation, it was not to, basically. He just saw it, he went, not to. That's all you need to do, is see not to. You're not to. Because right now, this is constantly in a flux of subject-object. Sometimes you feel like you're the thinker of thoughts. Sometimes you feel like the object being thought about. Yes? So the mental state plays subject-object right here. You don't need to go to Buddhism 102. That's 101. Yeah? As soon as you hear not to, and then you find yourself in the activity of two-ness, you've just got a PhD. It just negated your whole experience here. It's just telling you there's no subject-object. Well, I sort of seem to be one all day. Feel like I'm the subject-object, 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 subject-object. You're neither of them, yet you're appearing to be both of them. Don't sometimes. So here, you're going on a retreat, and you're going on a retreat as a subject. Oh yes, it's going to be great. I'm going to go there. But then, you start experiencing the retreat as the object. Your fucking ass starts hurting. And your knees start hurting. Now you're going, fuck. And then, at first, you're very austere the first day, and there's a lot of space in the zendo, and you have the cushion, and you sit there. After a few days, people have mountains of cushions trying to fucking lift one cheek off because their attention goes there. There's no winning in subject-object. There's no way you're going to get both of them aligned with your fucking plan. I sat for 13 hours meditating. It was insane. I had tons of experiences. I saw mandalas moving in other mandalas. It didn't mean fucking squat. And how long did it last? As long as I stayed in the temple. Just like when I was in a program called Delancey Street, when I was out there using, and their idea of success rate they used to publicize, it was 99.9% of success rate, but you had to read the fine print. You could never leave Delancey Street. I was going to have to live there the rest of my life. So this is sort of what it's like. How many retreats can you stay at? Sooner or later you're going to go home. So All right, the message. Are you hot, bro? You need some. Let's open the thing. Yeah. It gets hot fast. There it is. It's off. We're gonna have Bikram after this. That's how we're gonna synthesize. See? We're gonna have satsang and then Bikram yoga. The incredible combination. Yes, it would be. Yeah. But you would go both places. You at satsang, you would Bikram yoga. So if you don't see the thief, if you don't hear the description of the thief, when you meet it in life, you're going to call it me. You're just going to assume that's what's talking to you. You're going to assume its perception is the correct perception. Obviously, you've aligned yourself to it. You've pledged allegiance to it. You've been relying on it for years. Yeah? So basically, you could have, I'm telling you, if you had a dead master that you loved beyond loving, yeah? And that dead master appeared and said to you, there's nothing you ever needed to do, there's nothing you need to do, and there's nothing you'll never have to do, whatever. And then you'd be, oh yeah, and an hour later you'd be fucking practicing probably. Yeah? You would override the master every freaking time. Exactly. So the point is, all right, so the message is not to you. And then you want to hear, you want some emphasis on it, just read Hawaiian Po. You know, whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. Whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. So all of us are off the game board. You're perceiving this cannot be perceiving. I'm perceiving you, that's not perceiving. What's perceiving? Well, find out what you're not, and if you realize what you're not, you'll find out what you are. The dilemma is trying to search for what you are from what you're not. So there you go. So he says, hey, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Do you think a great master would say that to anyone unless they were the Buddha? Seriously, do you think it would say it to Jim, Mark, and Mary? Hey, Jim, and it would ruin their fucking 20 years of Buddhist practice. You know, it's not sadism, yeah. But the master's speaking because he's speaking to the Buddha. Even though Paul or Steve thinks they're hearing the message and it's them that's going to do what the message implies. No, the message isn't to Steve or Mary, it's to the Buddha. And the message is very clear to the Buddha. Buddha, you can't use yourself to find yourself. It's that simple. Yeah. It doesn't have 800 pages of commentary. It's like, and then it's like it's like a TKO, and then a knockout, and then another knockout. So you can't use mind to seek mind. You can't use light to seek light. Now, you hear it, and it's just like spiritual shoes. If they fit, you wear them. To me, it explained a lot of what I was seemingly doing out there. I was using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. I am that which I've been looking for. Yeah? Not as this, but as what's looking. Yeah? I am that which I've been looking for as what's looking. Not who's looking, but what's looking. So the point is, so there's one. The other point is that, yes. And then you can explain, because you can study what you're not. You can. We do it here every week, really. You can experience what you're not. We're doing that every day. You can know about what you're not. Definitely, yeah. So the whole point is not to apply that to what you are, because you cannot know what you are. You cannot study what you are. You cannot experience what you are. All you can do is be what you are. That's the dilemma. That's the dilemma, yes? We're trying to apply what we do with every other topic to the initial topic. So that which is studying can't be studied. It's just that simple. All right. So that's the second part of the message. So then what you look at? You look at how does that which isn't so seem to be so? It's a lot of freaking activity, which I combine into a topic called selfing. So there's all this selfing, the three-pronged mental processes: memory, thoughts, and perception, interpretation, yeah? Those three processes are based on the idea of you being a body. Yeah? When you're thought about as a body. When you're remembered as a body. And what do you perceive in this room? Do you perceive no thing, or do you see bodies? Yes? So the perceptions, the thoughts, and the memories are based on you and I being a body. If there's a reliance on that, there's going to be a sense or an assumption or just never even investigated that you are a body. Yeah? And so let's say if we went on a 3-day retreat and we chanted every day, you're not a body, what would chant, they're not a body, but a body? The only thing that wants to get out of the body experience is the body, yes? So you look at what you're not. Okay, how do we arrive at being the thinker just from thoughts? Well, you see it. You see the activity. There's a thought popping, and when the thought pops, yeah, there's a claiming of it, and that claiming, the footprint of the claiming in English is mine. Yeah. So there's thoughts like this, tons of them going. You always use this. So here's a water bottle. Yeah. I'm going to change the intention of the water bottle. My water bottle. So now the water bottle is being used to imply the haver of the water bottle. Yes. You don't see the haver of the water bottle. Just the water bottle implies the owner of the water bottle, yeah? So here's thoughts, one thought, thousands of thoughts, and each thought is being used to imply the thinker or the thought about, yeah? You're either the subject of it or the object of it, yeah? So everyone, so here's a thought, and each one, my thought, my thought, my thought. And then there's that one stream, then there's streams of sensations, my feelings, my feelings, my feelings. And then there's all the activities or the non-activities of the day. I'm not doing it, I'm doing it. I'm not doing it, I'm doing it, yeah? So it's through the claiming of these activities that the one is implied, yeah?
But
so
isn't that amazing?
What?
Isn't that amazing, everything you're talking about?
It is amazing.
That ability to do all of that?
Hmm?
That we have that ability to do
I know.
all of that?
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
fantastic.
I know.
Yeah, I'm going to go get a book for your son.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll just stay like this till you get back. You think I'm fooling? All right, so claiming, yes? Claiming. Thoughts, feelings, actions. Yeah? Always, all being used to point at what? At what? At us, as what we are, as reality. Like in AA, we have an incredible acronym, which is FEAR for false evidence appearing real, which is mostly what's happening during the day, yes, in the narration. Thoughts, false evidence is appearing real. Now, if you look at it, this is like your wife just said, it is amazing. How could false evidence appear real? It's an amazing freaking trick. Yeah, because false evidence has to appear real to what's real. Yeah. That is amazing. It is amazing that we're dreaming here. But see, this is a dilemma again, because the habit is when you hear I'm dreaming, it's given to being the body. No, this is the dreamt, yeah? The dreaming is not of the body. This is the dreamt. What we are is dreaming. Mental state is implying, assuming, insinuating, but it cannot picture what we are. We can. We can picture what we are as what we're not. And that's what's happening. That's the bondage of self. There's nothing right or wrong with it. The dilemma is, in your head, when it's determined this way, there's a lot of right and wrong. So study what you're not. Like supposedly Buddha used himself as his own laboratory. He just checked out what was happening. He saw everything, and then he saw things occurred. Yeah. So you see thoughts, follow them, see what happens. Yeah. And then look at your experience with others. Someone who's being driven crazy by a thought seems to have no effect on you. But the same thought, if held as yours, could have the ability to drive you crazy. Obviously, it's not the thought. Yeah? It's the dreaming that gives meaning to the thought through the mind. Yeah, so at least you can see what's happening. So hopefully you'll see that it's not happening to you. Even though this, you're not wasting any time convincing this. This is going to think it's happening to it. That's its whole source code. But you're not this. You are a much larger space. I mean, when you close your eyes, do you think you're behind the cheekbone? Do you think you're really limited to this little field? Your mind is wide, 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 wide. What the mind brings to this event is the space, yes? So that stage where all your attention and interest is so cramped and you're the only thing, all of it's all about you. And in this little 6'4" ceiling with no windows, yeah? You're in there. It seems to be real as freaking can be. Now, if you could just see the possibility of all the space surrounding this stage and have your interest, attention that's like wedded to this with you as a star of it, get released from that bondage and go into the space, then you would be seeing, you would have at one point, you'd have that self-centered aperture lock and you would have a much wider aperture seeing that. This would be what brings the lightness to the fucking play. It's the space, yes? And we are of space more than of thing. We want to be, all our attention and interest seems to be of thing, and the only way you're going to get relief is not through thing or as thing or by thing, it's from space. Whereas Jesus says you're in this world, but you're not of this world. The relief you're looking in this world is coming from the of, and we are that of. The peace isn't derived here, it's expressed here. The serenity isn't arrived at here, it's expressed here. Yes? So by seeing what you're not, because the whole engine of this dreaming is based on the idea it's about you. It truly is. I mean, if you want, if you could see, let's say there's 800 knobs and you tried every one of them and maybe a minimal effect occurred, right, when you tried it. But then you came to one little inconspicuous knob and you turn that and the whole would light up. You're fucking on to something, yeah? If you see all the meaning that I'm having to experience as reality here is being given through this prism of a self-centered view, yeah? And the self-centered view can't get out of the self-centered view, yeah? That's fundamentally been proven. You can't use what you are to find what you are, yes? Self cannot get out of self. You cannot use activity to produce stillness. That would be activity. You're not going to get out of these Chinese little thumb puzzle things. Yeah? You've got to see it from before. If you're looking at it from after, it's as real can be. You have to see it from before, and you are before. So you see the bondage. Yeah? You see it. You're not looking from the bondage, which strives to seeking for a solution. You see the bondage, and there's a fact that there is actually no real bondage because there would have to be a one to be bound to. Yes? So suddenly, as you're here, the jig is up. You start recognizing the dreaming. Not as the dreamt, but as the dreaming. And what happens? I don't know. In my experience, what it afforded a stabilized traveling lighter as the dreamt. And really, as the dreamt, what more would you want than a guaranteed stabilized traveling lighter through time and all the circumstances and situations that can occur? Because your circumstances are going to change, your health may change, this is going to change, a lot of things are going to change. But that which you are doesn't. That light has never been interrupted. You can't block the light from what comes after. You have to have something that was before. And that's impossible. Yeah. Look at clouds. The sun, clouds, there's you as Paul. You want to get some sun, but the clouds have the ability to influence that event, yes? Now, what would happen? So you gotta, every day you hope there's no clouds, and and maybe in the morning it's clear. Oh, great! You pack up, you go to the beach, clouds come in, you're blocked. Oh, fuck the clouds, shit like that. But what would happen if you saw the same event from the sun side? Would you see the clouds? Yes, you would see the clouds. Would they come and go? Yes, they would come and go. But would their influence be that great on you? No, because you would be on the sun side. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah? All those things that the head has set up that have to be met, and if they're not, you're not going to be okay. That game gets dismissed because you are what you're looking for. You are an inherent okayness no matter what freaking storm is going on. Yeah? Now, does it have an absolute every moment, every time demonstration? No, but it's a damn nice possibility to have in the deck. Yeah? Yeah. So the head, to me, the main movement of the magician, the mental magician, is claiming. Yeah? So it claims what it gets to, it's brought into contact by consciousness, and it claims what it's brought into contact by consciousness as having something to do with its idea of me. So now, even consciousness gets neutered because you think you're the one that's seeing right now. You think you're the one that's feeling. You think that you're the one that's tasting. And most people believe they can become more conscious because they really have a belief they can be less conscious. Yeah? It's true. There it is. So then from there, then it claims everything else. Thinking, feeling, all that conscious contact brings, it claims that too. Yeah? So now, your starting point in time is always here. But that's the beauty of timelessness. Yeah? Timelessness always inserts vertically in every moment of time. Yeah? It can negate all that's being manufactured and appearing to be so in time just by its constant vertical insertion of timelessness. And timelessness can outdraw any process because the gun is always out. It can never lose. Yeah? That's the beauty of it. It's actually prior to the mental processes. The mental processes are of time, and timelessness is a whole other ballgame. Why not allow some of that in your day? The of is what's going to change the meaning of the in. You can try to change the meaning of the in as an in, so you're fucking blue in your face. Radically, nothing happens. But the of what we are will change what it seems to be like in the in. Yes? So, and then just come to another meeting. Because if you look at all the stuff we've said over the years, some person will put it together maybe cohesively one day. And then there will be a sterile understanding. It's the flavor, it's this space, that's what's the message, yeah. Yeah. And it's the spiritual subpoena is always served. That's the beauty of it. I have faith that, some of us have probably died here, from overdosing or other things. I've had a number of deaths. And that's when I've been brought back. First of all, I was really pissed I was in the same movie. When I brought back, really it seemed like that had nothing to do with this. I truly don't believe this is happening, really. I think it's appearing to happen, but I don't think it ever happened. I really don't. I think it's just an extension of dreaming at night. We're just dreaming seemingly awake. Really. And you know what? If you never were woken up, you would take that dream at night to be as real as it can be, wouldn't you? The only thing that negates it is you waking up to this dream. Right now we don't have another one to negate this, yeah? But if you see it, it's no different. It's just dreaming. How you doing, my friend? All right? Yeah, good. So, any questions today? Did I miss anything? You just see it's like just a tickling of that which is already so, yeah? And you know, like this lady was speaking, it is amazing, it is amazing, but can you imagine where all that amazing is coming from? See, you just think it may
It's
be...
really amazing where it's
Yeah.
coming from.
Because you may think it's something, but it's nothing. That's the beauty, yeah.
Well, it's also a so what.
Yeah, no big deal.
It's a so what. It's what so, but it's also a so what.
Well, from here, yeah.
It's truly what is.
Yeah, yeah. But again, you have to realize all that goes back to where we are,
Are you busy?
seemingly, yeah.
Yeah, I am.
I don't think anything was ever said at all, ever from there, my view.
You don't think anything was ever said what?
From there, I don't think anything was ever said from there.
From there.
No, no. That doesn't say a thing. Or it's always speaking in silence, if you want to put it that way. It's like that white noise that has no noise to it. It's just always, always, always there. I think the best level you can arrive at is this, is maybe so what, or I don't know, but that is just still an interpretation based on the programming of this, yeah. You cannot not say from the programming, you can't, yeah. That's the artisticness of it, but it's, yeah.
You were talking about download a while ago. So it's what tickles the mind to have an experience or thought related to the download.
No, there's different ones in a way. The download is usually no information whatsoever. Yeah, the download is like a realization, but its value is that when it reverberates, it never hits anything. So it's not a realization of mind, it's a realization in mind. So a realization in mind reverberates but never touches anything. So you get a huge expanse sense, yeah? But some downloads are for talks.
Understand. So
Yeah.
my experience of it is some kind of rippling or
Breeze.
some kind of inspiration or something, and,
Yeah.
and that turns into a thought, and then since I like to write, I want to put it down on paper.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I turn it into dogma, which is which is the tripper.
But it can be seen artistically, so that's the point. I feel most of us here are expressions, so this is verbal jazz. The talks are like verbal jazz. You're like John Coltrane doing, playing that's, what is that? Love Supreme. You're just trying to, you keep going back to the same theme. You just riff and riff and riff and riff. But it's meant to trigger a sense, not a thought. Yeah, yeah.
So it's what you're doing is attempting to penetrate illusion?
I'm not doing anything about it.
Well,
I'm
when
attempting
you're
to end
talking,
this
you're
meeting
talking.
so I can go to coffee. What's happening through this, I don't know. You'd have to see what it is for you. It's for me, it's different, but I've learned that I have no idea what you are going to make of it. I just attempt to put it out, how
Your
it gets.
experience, you attempt to put your...
Well, this is beyond experience, for sure. You know? Yeah. To me, experience is a very small level. Yeah, I'm not into experience that much as a validation of anything. I find this is more of I don't even know, you know. I don't have really any intention. Something can arise in me, the Paul, and have an intention. Then I can experience frustration or something with some people. and but then it just drops into the other stuff, which is just here. It's out of my jurisdiction as soon as it leaves here. Yeah. But see, to me, this is like the hose, and I would see this as the water, and the hose has become intimate with the water by having the water move through it. Yeah. It can't know the water. It can't, but it can. It's intimated to it. Yes.
So it's a stream of unconsciousness. So it's the water, we're talking about water, so a stream of super consciousness, the unconsciousness perhaps.
Let's just say it's a stream that doesn't have a source or an end. It's just a stream, or streaming, I would say. And then sometimes when let's say a quick hit it shows its whole length though. Yeah. So you don't see more through more time. It just it comes in and there's a whole lot there, and then some of it can be used to put into hieroglyphics and to express something. But my preparation is nil, and my interest about the topic is none. Even though I had a lot of interest in it earlier. Like taking my orders from central office, it's told me just to read Yankee blogs and it's kept me whatever. Yeah. I have some people that write incredible metaphysical questions that I never return an answer because not even on that level anymore. I'm dumb, basically. All I've been informed of is an importance of attempting to present a persistent formulation of, instead of looking for what you are from what you're not, and maybe if you hear it, you see, oh, that's what's been happening, yeah? Yeah? That you and I, at the same moment, that can seem to be happening, looking for what you are from what you're not. There can be a seeing of what you're not, looking for what you are from what you are. Yeah? It's there. And that's all, it's sort of like every satsang is this, so that hopefully it clicks for a second, and then you see. Yeah, and then this can go back, but now you know this has never been changed. Yeah, yeah. So just slick. So here we put spiritual shoes out. You wear them, see if they fit. Wear them. So hey, does the statement "you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha" explain a lot to you? Yes, for me it was a huge download because it explained all my behavior from 6 years old to the present day. I was using what I am to look for what I am. And then I could see all the mental machinations of how to turn the blame on the action figure for not being enough to find what it is by looking for it. Yeah? Instead of seeing the failedness of the system. So now I've seen the failedness of the system, and it's never been presented as unfailed ever since then. And so the messages that caught the attention finally sufficiently led to a point of this being the last answer here, which is a damn good answer because it negates all need for any other answer. I don't want an extreme version of this. I don't want a radical version of this. I don't want a synthesized version of this. I don't want fucking anything about it. I really don't. Yeah? But what it's done as this action figure, I've been trying to get out of here since I was 6 years old. Now I am completely here. I never get gypped. Sleeping, awake, and it doesn't matter. And there's no urge to get out at all. And to me, that's really being out. You realize you're not in. When I'm sharing, I'm trying to explain how it's happening to me. I'm trying to share what it's like when this thing clicks. Yeah, just because I know it's available at all times, right where you are. So I just keep clicking it, because it's all a shift of emphasis. It's all a shift of interest and attention. And then you'll know the problem from the solution. When you're relieved, you'll see that it's the bondage of self. It's an activity that what we are is engaged in. And it's amazing as you want to see it as, but the incredible amazement of it is the space that it's appearing in. Why would you, if you had a chance to meet a magician, why would you just put up with the trick? Why not just go for the magician? Yeah, that's my sense of it. So to me, last answer hasn't changed in years, and I believe that there's no point leaving this point until it's seen clearly, or you'll be looking from the problem. Yeah, if the identification as what you're not is so quick, you're living from that point. You can't use that to get out of that. Yes? You have to see the failedness of the system that seems to be managing or materializing as you right here. In that, seeing the failing of the system, yes, other possibilities arrive. What happened with me was it was demonstrated something that happened in AA. It didn't happen in AA, but I was reading the big book and I read this statement, which is being convinced that self manifested in various ways. And my life had been in recovery for 9 years at this point. And recovery was my way of life. And so I was reading this chapter that I had read because I used to lead workshops. And it was how it works. And it says it, 64, it says being convinced, which means a present state, a present tense state, yes? It doesn't say I was convinced or you're going to be convinced. It's saying being convinced of what? Of self, that self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. So to me, this was huge because self was seen as different than us, yes? And I don't believe it's talking about the ego, at least in my sense. I don't believe, see, to me, the ego is an objectification of the mental state about its mental state. Because the underlying thing is there's a feeling of having an ego or losing an ego. That's the bondage of self, not the ego. Yes? To me. So it's a sense of owning and claiming and being a doer and a haver. That one. It's not a fucking, it's like a police composite drawing of the mental state by the mental state. All right, go out and find this. Get rid of it. Yeah. Wait a minute. You're a what? What's his name? Kaiser Sose. What? It's him. What? Yeah. So it says being convinced that self manifested in various ways. So self doesn't defeat you. It defeats you through its manifestations. Yeah? Because self is an idea. The idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity derived by the claiming of all that's going on. Yeah? That's an idea. The idea can't defeat you. But the manifestations of self, when that which you are entertains the idea of being a self, that which you are, the great dreaming of all this place, when that which you are takes itself to be a self, then through that believing to be a self, there's manifestations that defeat us, aka self. Yeah? So it goes, okay, if you're convinced of this, let's look at some of its common manifestations, because you can't look at self. There isn't one. Yeah? There it is. You know it by its manifestations. So and then the next paragraph in recovery is resentment is the number one offender. Kills more alcoholics than anything else. Then there's another one, fear. Take inventory of fear. And then another one, harm's done to others in the pursuit of what you want. And you look at the sexual arena. Just so why? Why do you take a look at that stuff so that you can see, oh, that's a manifestation of self in one's life. Yes? Yes? But what happens with a lot of us, because the bondage of self is so strong, we start seeing resentments and we call them mine. It's sort of like Stanley as self manifesting through me, and every manifestation of Stanley through me calls it mine. That's because that's the act of being identified as self, or the act of being identified as Stanley. Am I identified as Stanley? No. It's the act of being identified. See, the identification comes after. There's a claiming of Stanley's activities, and then there's the identification as Stanley. There's not an identification with Stanley, and then, yes? It's the claiming of the resentment that implies there's the you that has the resentment. Yes. If you see it, so you'll stop calling the manifestations of selves your manifestations. You'll see resentment as resentment, which is just a perceptual, myopic view. Yeah? And fear isn't even fear. Fear is avowed emotion. You'll see most of what you call fear is mental anxiety based on relying on a failed system. So you have total devotion to thoughts that are fucking crazy. Yeah?
They seem so real.
Of course they seem so real.
So real.
Of course they do. Hey, because that thing which is dreaming is amazing. You're not getting gypped. Can you imagine if you could see through this in by 11 a.m.? No, this isn't fucking happening. No, it's fucking pretty good because you're the projector, you're the light, you're the character, you're this, and you're everything.
You're
Yeah?
the creator.
What?
You're the
Well, not the creator, because that would mean it's real. You're the maker.
No, I disagree with you on
You
that.
do?
Yes.
You think this is real, this place?
No, I think you're the creator of the thoughts that create your reality. Yes, I do. I don't think, I think that's okay. I think that we're caught in a huge dance. I don't understand the purpose of it particularly. And I, like you, have been trying to get out of here, not by ODing or anything, but just always knowing that this is a very, excuse me, sweetheart, effed up place,
He was when it's working.
but it's amazing that I have lived all these years, which is a lot of years, and I have come to the knowledge that I've created this amazing thing that I'm coming closer and closer and closer to letting go of as I get older and older, and I'm going to make the transition into that space that perhaps you're talking about. We're gonna make that kind of transition. So I do think that it's an amazing process. I don't understand the purpose of it. Why? What is why? Well,
Why not?
I get the why not, but why? I mean, if that's the question that leaves me.
Why? You know where that goes. Nowhere.
No. You gotta hear what I'm saying. It's not, it's why. What is the actual purpose?
Why go
Maybe
goes
there
into
is no
self-pity
purpose.
constantly? That's why why.
No, it doesn't.
No, listen, everyone has
You're
a
talking
voice
about
here.
why embodiment, why be a being, why be in a body.
What's the whole,
To be kind.
to be kind?
There you go.
Well, I think let's say, hold on one second. In your view, if you're the creator, then make up a reason.
Okay, well.
Here, just like he said, do
It's
no harm.
entertaining. It's entertaining. It
Do
stops
no
you.
harm. Yeah?
Yeah,
See, this is the beauty.
Yeah.
Fake it as you make it. If you see, in your view, you're the creator of this, so let it take it farther. Make your own answer to your own why. If you're creating everything else, then create an answer.
Okay.
Yeah? Yeah. That would work, yeah? No, really, if you want to stay consistent, create, well then you can create an answer to the why. Like right now. Yeah? See, now I don't mind views. I don't mind different views. Yeah, there. See, this dog is much smarter than all of us. It doesn't ask why. It knows what it wants and it gets it. Yeah. But let's just say, see, in that view, you believe this is a created place. My sense is that this is all dreaming. It's only appearing. So therefore, there's no reality to it because there's only one reality, which is that which is dreaming. I don't see the dreamt as reality. I just don't. So I don't believe my thoughts, I'm the creator of my thoughts. I believe the thoughts are pretty much based on a stock model programming called self-centeredness with variations of programming and social and cultural and things you meet in life and stuff like that. So some of the thoughts you'll get some different additions, but basically they're made up. They're made up, yes? So basically, See, like the Course in Miracles, which I like, would say the mind of man makes, the mind of God creates. It's very different. So we're dreaming. So everything here is making. It's not created, because created would be real, and this isn't real, because you forget this as soon as you go to sleep at night. And if you never woke up, if you had stayed in that dream, this wouldn't seem to be real at all. Yeah? So that's, but everyone has everyone's views. Whatever allows it to fit right with you so that you travel lighter, God, great. But see, here, people come to see this talk, so then I put out what I'm saying. I don't dispute it, but I can't agree because I don't see it that way.
You don't, I'm sorry, what?
See, I don't dispute what you say, but I can't agree because I don't see it that way. I think there's, the only reality there is that which is seeing. I don't think anything it's seeing, anything it's seeing isn't real. It's given reality by that which is seeing. And the reality is...
Isn't that the nature of three-dimensional reality?
Hmm?
The nature of three-dimensional reality, with this piece that we're motoring around in, is ego, body, mind, and the peace, and the system, and the thoughts, and the past, and the future, and all that. What you're saying is, that's not what's real. What's real is the flow into this.
Yeah, I'm saying this is dreaming. Dreaming could have 3 dimension, 30 dimension, 1 dimension. It doesn't matter. But it's all defined by the act. See, there's only reality. There's not 2 realities. There's reality, and reality's dreaming. And the dreaming, if let's say there's the dreaming, if you put a different purple lens in front of it, you would see things completely differently. If you get sober, you see things completely differently. If this happens, you have a really life or death experience, maybe you see things completely differently. There's all these different lenses can occur here, and you just see things differently. But it's a kaleidoscope that's being manufactured, not manufactured, it's happening. But everything that's happening never culminates into a happen. Yeah? In other words, everything is happening, but nothing ever happens.
Gotcha.
That's, to me, it's all verbiage.
Folding and folding.
Yeah, it's dreaming.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
It's funny because there's a Bible quote that struck me this recently about it's the Father's good pleasure to give us the kingdom. So like the total difference between like, what do you mean by father, if you don't have a good father image, versus a father that's giving, the pleasure is the giving in this moment. There's no why. Because it's just, why do you ever ask why when you're having pleasure?
And well, look at Sufism. They present it as the beloved, because this is artistry. Course in Miracles presents it in another way. This is artistry.
Castaneda in another way.
Castaneda in another way. So there's all these, but basically, again, they're translations in this translatable place. Nothing gets to the point because you're in it talking about it.
It's like a koan.
Huh?
A koan.
Yeah. So for me, the whole point is really been a dumbing down. I don't care about any why or anything at all. I just, as soon as it became clear, the idea of looking at life from what you're not, that was the only point I had to arrive at. Once I saw that, it's just been staying there because I humbly believe if that's not corrected, it's going to be like a shadow that's going to go with you every inch of the way. And I've stuck with it. Some people here have been here years ago. And has anything changed in the talks? Not much. It's been the same. Because there's nothing, you can say it in thousands of ways, but without this being seen, it seems pointless to me. It really does. From my own experience. Because I spent many years looking for what I am with what I am. I did, seemingly. So, yeah. All right, well, let's end with let's pass the basket.